Hi, so um, this is a releasing session. So we're gonna get started. You can just talk about whatever you would like to share regarding the situation, as much as you want to, or as little as you want to. And also, I just wanted to remind you that this is not a um, replacement for any type of professional or licensed assistance. So it's just a session to help clear any of the blocks that might be surrounding this situation. Okay, so
Yes,
ready?
ready.
Okay, so what would you like to work on right now? Like, can you talk a little bit about what's going on?
hmm First, I would like to work on improving our life and situation here since I've been through a lot since 2019. And for me, getting stronger each day, every month, and every passing year has been really challenging for me as a mother and as a person, especially when my family and my kids are already involved in the situation.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so um, For this for this releasing, we're going to be in touch with the body. So if you could just close your eyes and then kind of put your head down so you're more focused on your body, like your stomach or your chest,
Mm-hmm.
and see if you feel any sort of tightness, like a lump or a heavy feeling, anything like that in your body.
Yes, actually, in my nape and stomach.
Okay. So imagine just opening a door and
Mm-hmm.
letting that energy go. Okay. So this is one of the ways that we can release energy. You don't even need to know about what exactly it is. Just talking about the situations that you might be facing can bring up this energy, and you can just imagine opening a door and letting it go.
Mm-hmm. I'm I'm actually feeling that I'm trying to release all the energy and it's really flowing like a streaming water in the river. Like I
Yeah.
have a lot, I have too much, and
Yeah.
mhm, I have too much, and it's like a very very strong wind trying to coming out of that door, and it's like separated to left and right. There's a
Okay.
there's a space in the middle of it.
Okay.
Mhm.
So now another way is in your head asking, is it wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting safety? So when you look at the energy that's flowing out, is any of it a lacking approval or sometimes love? Is it a lacking control, out of control feeling, or is it lacking safety or security? Which one would it be the closest to?
it's it's number two. It's more of out of control, lacking
Out of
control.
control? Okay.
Mhm.
So would you be willing to let go of the out of control, lacking control feeling so that you can have control, have more control?
Yes.
Okay. And could you let it go?
I'm trying.
Okay. So could you let go of the wanting control out of control so
Yes.
you can have control? Yes.
Mm,
And more
yes.
and more
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
And does it feel like you have more control now or still a little bit of the out of control?
It's slowing down. I'm having a bit of control of it.
Okay. So can you let go of the way you feel right now and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And could you let go of the way you feel like right now and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better.
Yes.
Okay. So now looking at the situation, is there
Mm.
anything else coming up? What's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about it?
The first thing that came into my mind is my upcoming court hearings. Like for me, it seems never ending.
Okay.
Mm,
And when you look at that, is it bringing up a wanting approval, a wanting control, or a wanting to be safe and secure?
I I want to be safe and secure.
Okay. So with all of this, you can just say yes, and that allows it to release. Even if it's a little bit, at least it starts releasing it.
Mm,
So could you let go of the wanting safety and wanting security so you can have security?
yes.
And can you let go of even more wanting safety
Yes.
and let it go even more
Yes.
and even more?
Yes.
So which is better, wanting safety or actually having safety?
It's having safety.
Okay. So could you let go of even more wanting safety so you can have safety
Mm, yes.
and even more
Yes.
and even more?
Yes.
And does it feel like you have more safety or still a little bit of wanting?
I feel like I have it.
Okay. So could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
Okay. So now, are there any people or individuals that are bringing up any kind of emotions or anyone that's involved?
My cousin,
Okay.
who's has been my what do you call that? Enemy or rival.
Okay. So could you let go of disapproving?
Yes.
So could you let go of disapproving of your cousin even more
Yes.
and even more?
Yes.
And could you let go of disapproving of yourself
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
So, would you be willing to give yourself approval, give yourself love,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more?
Yes.
And can you give your children approval right now, too?
Yes.
And even more,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
Okay, did anything change?
Yes, I feel lighter.
Okay, so would you be willing to give your cousin approval? Not for your cousin, but for you, so
Mhm.
you can be more
Mhm.
positive. Okay,
Yes.
and can you give, is it him or her?
Her.
Okay, so can you give her even more approval?
Yes.
And even more,
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
Okay, and if there's any lawyers or judge, um, or anyone who are officials who are involved, can you give them all approval?
Yes.
And even more,
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
And just imagine sending them a lot of approval,
Yes.
and there's no strings attached, you're just giving them approval because you can.
Yes.
And even more.
Yes.
And is there anyone else involved?
Yes.
Okay, so everyone else who's involved, would you be willing to give them approval also
Yes.
and send them more approval
Yes.
and even more
Yes.
and even more?
Yes.
And then allow that love and approval to expand to your house and your land
Yes.
and your family
Yes.
and even more
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
So now when you think about the situation, what's the first thought that comes to mind?
Peace.
Okay, so we're going to do something called squeezing the lemon, and it's designed to bring up anything else that's blocking you unconsciously or subconsciously. So
Mhm.
imagine that the case, the lawsuit is already finished.
Mhm.
Everything's done. You don't have to worry about it. The case was in your favor. So you don't have to worry about anything. It's done.
Mhm.
So what comes to mind?
Freedom.
Okay. And if you could put that as a wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting safety, which one is it closest to?
Approval.
Okay. So could you let go of the wanting approval so you can have approval
Mhm. Yes.
and even more
Yes.
and even more?
Yes.
And does it feel like you have approval or still want approval?
I have it. Yes.
Okay. And can you give yourself even more approval
Yes.
and even more?
Yes.
So could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And now, one more time, imagine everything is resolved and the case is in your favor. You don't have to worry about it anymore. What comes to mind?
Smile. Smile from my family.
Okay. And is there any wanting approval, control, or safety?
Safety.
So could you let go of wanting safety so you can have safety?
Yes.
And even more,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
And can you feel safe right now?
I can. Yes.
So could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Hmm. Yes.
And let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
Okay. So could you let go of your attachment to resolving the lawsuit?
Yes.
So is there any wanting approval, control, or safety?
None.
Okay. So could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better.
Yes.
Okay. So on the other side of that, imagine that it's never resolved. It's either pushed back later and later, or your cousin keeps filing a lawsuit again and again and again. Okay. Is there any wanting approval, control, or safety?
None.
Okay. So are you 100% okay with the lawsuit never being resolved?
No.
Okay. Is there a wanting approval, control, or safety?
Safety.
Okay. So could you let go of the wanting safety so you can have safety?
Yes.
And let go of the wanting safety so you can have even more safety
Yes.
and even more
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
Okay. So could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better.
Yes.
And let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better.
Yes.
Okay. So imagine the lawsuit never ever resolving. You always have to deal with it. Can you be 100% okay with that?
No.
Okay. And what else is coming up? A wanting approval, control, or safety?
Control.
Okay. So could you let go of wanting control so you can have control?
Yes.
Could you let go of wanting control to have control?
Yes.
Which is better, wanting and lacking control or actually having control?
Actually having control.
Okay. So could you let go of the wanting and lacking control so you can have control?
Yes.
And does it feel like you have more control?
Yes.
Okay. And could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And now imagine the lawsuits never resolving. Can you be 100% okay with that?
No.
Okay. And what else is coming up?
Security.
Oh, okay. So could you let go of the wanting safety security so you can have security?
Yes.
And could you let go of wanting security to have security?
Yes.
Which is better, wanting security or having security?
Having security.
And could you let go of the wanting security so you can have security?
Yes.
And does it feel like you have more security now?
Yes.
So could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
Could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
And could you let go of the way you feel and allow it to be even better?
Yes.
Okay. So what percent are you from 0 to 100% being you're okay with it never resolving?
That's 0.
So 0%.
Mm,
So what would it take for you to be 100% okay with it?
the approval of me winning the case.
Okay. So see that picture in your head.
Mm,
Can you give that picture approval?
yes.
And even more,
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
Now, can you allow that picture to erase and disappear?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any wanting approval, control, or safety coming up?
Approval.
Okay. So can you let go of disapproving so you can have approval?
Yes.
And even more,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
And can you give yourself approval?
Yes.
Okay, give yourself love and approval,
Mm, yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
And can you give all the pictures in your head about all the different ways that this can play out, the situation can play out? Give all of those pictures in your head approval,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
And can you allow all those pictures in your head to disappear, to be erased,
Mm,
to dissolve?
yes.
Okay. So does our mind actually know what the best resolution
Yes.
is? It can give us all of these different ways, but what if there's an even better way that your mind can't phantom? So would you be willing to allow all of these pictures to just disappear and to be erased?
Yes.
Okay. And can you give your mind approval for coming up with all of these different scenarios?
Yes.
And even more,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more. And now
Yes.
give yourself and your family approval,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
Okay, and then give your land and your house approval,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and give your municipality approval,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and give your neighbors approval,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more.
Yes.
Okay, so are you more okay with it not being resolved, or is it still 0?
I'm okay.
Okay, so if you look at your the pictures that your mind is showing you, is there are there more pictures, or is it clear?
The door is clear right now.
Okay, so ask now in this blank space, what is the best? And you can give approval to your child right now,
Yes.
and give even more approval,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and was there any disapproval,
None.
and even more,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and give some more approval,
Yes.
and even more,
Yes.
and could you let it be okay?
Yes.
Okay, so now in this space where there's no pictures, what is the best and highest good for everyone involved?
Peace.
Okay, and can you allow that peace to expand?
Yes.
Okay, so is it okay to end now?
Yes.
Okay, what are you experiencing now?
First, I experienced like the whole situation is crushing me and my stomach is really tight, like there's a lot, like I want to vomit, that kind of
Yeah.
feeling. And then as I go through answering the approval, security, safety, I felt that the strong gushing of wind reminding me of the problems is being in control until it slowly disappears, and it gives me peace, gives me the confidence that I can win it.
Okay.
I'm letting go of all the I'm letting go of all the control, the strong emotions that's taking me everywhere, and just remain there in that spot and just let everything flow.
So, if you have time, like any time during the day, can you start giving yourself approval and then giving everyone in the lawsuit approval, like
Mm-hmm.
especially your cousin and the maid and anyone else involved.
Yes, yes, Miss Annie.
Okay, so well, let's just do it one more time. Can you give yourself approval
Yes,
and your family approval
yes,
and all your neighbors' approval
yes,
and all the lawyers and the judges and everyone involved, the officials,
yes,
and then give your land and your house approval
yes,
and all your animals.
yes.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much. And we'll have this audio. Um, so you gave
Mm-hmm.
approval to post this on um, maybe YouTube or something, right?
Mm, right, Miss Annie.
So I'll send you the link when it's up. And if you could listen to it, especially
Mm-hmm.
when there's a lot coming up regarding the situation,
Mm-hmm.
that would
I will
help a
definitely
lot.
listen to it. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Annie. Thank you so much for your time, for everything, for being here.
All right.